Okay, my fantasy freakazoids, we are back for another season, the 2025-2026 fantasy season, and I'm bringing you something very, very special today. I put together probably the best spreadsheet I have ever put together for fantasy basketball. It has two key elements in it. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through a mock draft and we're going to use the spreadsheet alongside of it. And I will show you how to use this as a live draft partner and then as a post-analysis draft partner. So this works really, really well for obviously Yahoo Fantasy Basketball snake drafts. I have two versions. I have a 10-man draft and a 12-man draft. I have two of those coming out. If you need something larger like a 14, I can do a custom product, but you could message me separately and let's kind of jump into it. So right now we've got about 3 minutes left in our mock draft and let's kind of go through the spreadsheet very quickly. It's going to be best for me to show you while we're mock drafting and then after the mock draft to really show you how this works with examples, but let's walk you through it. So the ultimate spreadsheet. We'll kind of just jump into the intro. So this has all the tabs laid out here with every function, and it may seem complicated, but a lot of this is just two key elements. Element number one is for when you're doing a mock draft or a real draft, you can simply use my live draft partner and copy and paste the name into this, or you could just type it in. So I'll show you how all the magic works. Within this column right here, column B, this is where the algorithm exists. I used a lot of research this year to make this as seamless as possible. So as you do your draft, you put in each player's name one at a time, and it puts together a rolling picture of what categories you have. So this allows you to really dance with the music of your draft. Like if you're gonna look for a little bit of a punt, this allows you to quickly do that so you can monitor every category as your draft progresses. So let's just throw in a couple quick examples before this draft drops. Still got 2 minutes left, so plenty of time. So yeah, let's go. So the real function here is when you pick a player, you go into tab number 1, projected averages and z-score. So I put in all my projections into here. I put together some really nice z-scores. And what a z-score is essentially, it takes your stats and it measures it against the average stats of the NBA. So you have certain standard deviations. So players that are absolutely exceptional in a specific stat, like for example, Victor Wembanyama. He's so good in blocks, he's gonna have a crazy big Z-score in blocks. So he's gonna have a huge standard deviation differentiation. Nerdy talk, but let's get back to the good stuff. So I put all this together and I aggregated it, and let's say for example your first pick you get let's say you get Victor Wembanyama. We're gonna copy, we're gonna go right over to live draft partner, and we're going to, let's say, paste. Boom, all the stats propagate, all the magic exists again within here. So the filter says if the name registers and it's linked to tab number 1, I'm gonna propagate all the stats, and here's where the real magic happens. Within all of this, I'll go back to the intro, you have your tab 6 draft partner, and actually, let me just back out. This isn't where all the magic happens. The magic happens is when you finish your draft, Yahoo will send you over a email result. So when you do a mock draft, please make sure you have this send. It says send email with draft results. This is my email, by the way. Don't harass me too much, but if you have any specific questions, here to help. So make sure that box is checked. Yahoo, at the end of your draft, will email you over the results, and I'll show you how to take those results, copy and paste them, plug them into the spreadsheet, and everything is automatically put together, and you could benchmark your team versus other teams. I know you could do that within the tab of Yahoo, but here's where I think they have a little bit of a shortfall. I think it comes down to field goal percentage and free throw percentage. I don't know how they put together their averages. I think they may just average the averages. What I put together in this spreadsheet is an actual, I actually put down the projected field goal attempts and field goals made, so that when you have your, let me show you this last page here, when you have your comparison table, everything is according to actual statistics with field goals made, free throws made. So everything's a little more accurate than Yahoo's projections. But there's a lot of magic here. And if you want to skip forward in this video to the email portion where you copy and paste the email results and plug it into the spreadsheet, you could totally do that. But again, we're going to go through the two main functions of this spreadsheet, which is going to be the draft partner, tab number 6, and then the email drop page where there's just a lot of magic in it. So this is also going to be helpful too, so you can kind of get some insight as to some players that I think are valuable this year. A lot of cool names. And what I have in this spreadsheet too is my personal rankings, my Yahoo personal rankings, and I put this all together. I've got 200, and I don't think I have Anthony Black there. I have 208 players, which should be ample enough players for you to pick and choose from. But yeah, we got a minute, 10 seconds left. I've got the 8th pick in this draft. So this is going to serve a few functions in this video. You'll also see a live mock draft and sort of how I think about putting teams together. I don't know if I'm going to pay as much attention to team composition as much as I will show you how the spreadsheet works. Again, powerful spreadsheet. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, good. Powerful spreadsheet, and it can really help you out this season. So, little knock at the door, no worries. We always roll with the punches. So we're going to continue through, take a quick little coffee break. 30 seconds left. I've done a lot of mock drafts this year, and this I find to be an excellent tool. Again, I will have the link in this video to purchase this tool, and it's well worth it. Had a lot of great feedback last year. It's just a good investment. I think I'm gonna price this year at $40, something like 39 something. I put a ton of time and effort into it, and I think that's well worth the value. If you have a prize league, here we go. If you have a prize league where the prize is over, let's say over $120, I think this is a really good investment here. So first pick, no surprise, Nikola Jokic, Victor Wembanyama, Giannis Antetokounmpo. I think those are all standard. Keep going through. Let's see if anybody does anything crazy. You can't solely depend on a mock draft for real draft results, because you have a lot of crazy people doing some crazy things here. Let's keep going through, and I'll show you. Once we get the first pick, I'll plug it into the spreadsheet, and you'll see how we kind of dance with this. Okay. Okay, SGA, good pick. Luka Doncic, solid. I don't know who I'm going to take here, but I'm going to queue up a few players. Like, here's a little controversy. Do you take Karl Anthony Towns over Anthony Davis this season? I think that's one of those really interesting points here, because the Knicks are not going to run players at the same rate as they were last year. It doesn't even matter. AD goes anyway, but I'm going to take Ant Edwards. Good source of threes. I'm going to go to average stats here. I'm going to take Anthony Edwards. So I'll show you something. There's two ways of using this tool. You could just type it in. If I type it in wrong, I will not get my results, but let's just try this. So my first pick, I have Anthony Edwards. So let's type it in. A-N-T-H-O-N-Y, Edwards, E-D-W-A-R-D-S. Boom. So if you type it in perfectly correctly, you're fine. The stats will propagate. But it's a lot easier just to copy and paste to be totally foolproof. So the objective here is I do search function, which is Command F on Apple. On Windows, I think it's some sort of search function F2, but you click Command F, and then you have your find in sheet, and you just type in EDWARDS, and then you have it right here. You click on this, copy, which is Control C, or you can just right click and click copy, and then I go right over to the live draft partner, and I go right here, and I do paste, and it'll come up, boom, same exact thing. So obviously that's my first pick, and all you need to do within this tab 6 is just get the name over to the sheet, and it's a simple copy paste function. Okay, I'm up next already. So who am I going to take here? I didn't even see these picks. Let's see. And Edwards, Booker, Trae Young, Karl Anthony Towns, Evan Mobley a little early, Amen Thompson a little early, but like pretty much the right pick. I could take Domas here, Domantas Sabonis. I don't think he's going to have that great of a season, to be totally honest with you. When Zach LaVine came in, usage went down a lot, but let's go Domas just because this is kind of the right pick here. So let's go Domantas Sabonis, D-O-M. So I go right over here, I copy, and I come over here, paste. Stats are automatically propagated. So now I can sort of track what's going on in my draft. Right now, field goal percentage okay, free throw okay, three is obviously great, PPG. Obviously, it's still the first two picks, so everything's going to be skewed, but it's like, what stats do I think I'm going to want to target? My turnovers are high, but in a 9 category, if you're going for as many categories as possible, You may lose turnovers a few times because usage, assists, points, when the ball is in your hand, a lot of times turnovers are going to be higher. So it's one of those beasts that you have to deal with in fantasy. But let's just kind of go with the flow of the draft, see if I want to punt in this, see if I want to punt in the mock draft. Mock drafts are not the best place to punt, again, because crazy picks. People make the dumbest picks in mock drafts. I don't think there's been anything too crazy yet. It's been pretty solid. So for my next pick, I always queue up a few guys, a couple positions before. Very, very important. Always have your queue active. Have 3 or 4 guys ready for your queue. This way you're not scrambling. And here's a little trick. If you know the guy you're going to pick, make a quick pick. If you know exactly what you're going to get, pounce on it. Put pressure on the guy after you. That is a fantasy tip that will, I think, do you well. As long as you're putting pressure on other managers in the draft, people will make mistakes. If you play perfect and other people make mistakes, you have the advantage. So let's watch as this draft goes through. Josh Giddey, I like the pick. Ball, I just don't know what to do with Ball this year. He's just so injury prone. Seems to never finish out the year. Last year was so disappointing. Really bad field goal percentage. Super high turnover. Obviously, he's studly in points, threes, and assists. And steals actually dipped down a little bit last year. I'm not so high on Ball. So let's start queuing up some guys. I like Scotty. I like Pascal. I don't know if I love Paolo for standard 9 cat. He crushes you in field goal and free throw and turnovers, and he doesn't get you anything in the way of steals and blocks. He is an excellent points lead player, but if you're not super aware of how to compensate for his stats, you could really find yourself in a hole when you draft a Paolo. So I'm probably going to fade on Paolo. Maybe. Let's see what happens. Yeah, I'm going to take Pascal Siakam. I think we're going to have a good season here. So, again, I go over here and let's grab Pascal Siakam. Pascal. And, again, I've projected all of Pascal's stats. I have him doing 24 points, 8 rebounds, 5.3 assists per game this season. So that'll all get propagated here. Paste. And, again, we have a rolling average of what's going on here. So far, solid team. And yeah, you could just control your stats. And there may be a point where you want to emphasize, maybe I want to overemphasize field goals here and I'm going to punt free throws. We'll see. Let's keep going through here. I guess if Paolo falls to 41, I'm going to grab him. But let's see what's going on. Oh, I'd be remiss to say that today's video is sponsored by... I'm just kidding. We don't have any sponsors. Self-sponsored videos. That's how we do it. All right. So, waiting for our next pick here. Who went after me? Dyson Daniels. Really good pick. He is the Wembanyama of steals. Really interesting guy. For a particular build, he's like a top 5 pick. But in standard 9 category, he doesn't do enough in points, in threes, in rebounds, or assists. He's really a 1 category guy. Doesn't get a ton of turnovers, but he's a very niche guy. Certain build, perfect player, standard 9 cat. You don't want to jump on him too soon. So you've got Paolo. Now, real question is, who do you take before, Paolo or Franz? Paolo's going to get you more punchy stats, bigger stats, but Franz is more efficient, less turnovers, just more efficient across the board. You can make the argument to take Franz ahead of Paolo, and I think a smart fantasy player considers that and says, I'm not just going to go for these big, gigantic stats. Like, Paolo's probably going to get 28 points per game. Franz is probably going to get 22.5 points per game, but way more efficient, and he's going to get you better ancillary stats too. He's going to get you more steals, I think, lower turnovers, just overall more efficient. So let's queue up some guys. I like Jaren Jackson this year. I think he's going to start the season injured, and I reflected that, by the way, in league notes. I put together notes for everything. So JJJ, I have him here. Let's see. Jaren Jackson Jr. injured to start the season, projected return November 3rd. So he's going to miss a little bit of time. And I made sure to put notes in the margins for everything here. There's a lot of guys who there's big risk for shutdown in the fantasy playoffs. You might hear a little bit of noise in the background, having a renovation in the office here. But let's roll with the punches. Okay, so Paolo is taken. We are going to go for... I think this is a Franz spot. Do I take Franz? Do I take a Trey Murphy? That's also a great question. Trey Murphy looks freaking good this offseason, and I think he's set to dominate. I'm going to be a little crazy. I'm going to take Trey Murphy before I take Franz. So let's grab a Trey. And let's go over here. Let's type in Trey, T-R-E-Y, Trey Murphy, the third. Copy, paste, put away. Again, I'm emphasizing again that this spreadsheet serves two functions. Function number one is the live draft partner. Super, super great. But you'll see at the end of this draft, and like I mentioned before, you can skip ahead of this video if you don't really care about a mock draft, if you don't really care about this facet of the tool to draft partner, you can skip ahead and see the email results. Once this draft is over, the results will be sent to my email. I'm going to copy and paste. I'll show you exactly how to do that. I'm going to throw it into this magical tab over here, and I'll quickly show you this tab. What you do is you paste your results directly into here, and then I have a converter page which strips away all the noise, which like the number one bracket, the team in parentheses, and I have it all stripped over here. And then from there, I have H extract all the information in order so that we have a perfect draft here, 156 players in a 12-man draft at 13 players. And then that gets sent over to page 3, pure extraction. I take all the data from that player's name and it's tied directly into the stats on page 1, and then it goes into team stats so that every team has a full breakdown of stats. And all of this is magically put together by just copying and pasting the email. I did all this sweet little stuff in between so that you could look as you have the email and you put it in, like who's doing what, who's doing who, do I like how this team did this? And what's really nice is that I have one more tab after that called the team comparison table, where you could take a look at your team compared to everyone else and you could say, am I going according to my strategy here? So a really great tool. You're gonna find a lot of purpose in this. This is perfect for practicing your draft. For the mock drafts, this is the best tool on the market, hands freaking down. 5-word picks till my spot. Deni Avdia, he's getting overdrafted a lot, but I think for good reason. I don't know how the beginning of his season is going to go, but I know how the end is going to go. He is going to freaking rage. I think he's going to be a solid guy. My projected averages for Avdia, let's see, AVD. I have him doing 21 points per game, 8.4 rebounds per game, 4.6 a steal and a half a block with 2.5 threes per game. Kind of a high turnover guy. Sort of weighs on you a little bit in field goal and free throw, but just like a high octane guy that you could get in the 50s. And psych, he was just drafted, 53 before me. Porzingis, new place, same face. I just don't know. This guy cannot play a full season. He's a super interesting player. I think I may go a Duren over him. I may even go a Brandon Miller over him. I don't know what kind of build I'm putting together here, but like for a pop player, I think Brandon Miller has a great year. The problem with Brandon Miller is that you're kind of looking for a field goal punt and a turnover punt, but my field goals are looking good here, so I don't think I want to compromise that at this point. I'm better off going a Jalen Duren in this spot. Like, easily a Jalen Duren in this spot. Let's see how that reflected. Let's run a quick scenario to see how a Brandon Miller would have looked. Let's see, how would a Miller would have looked? Let's see what he would have done to our field goal percentage versus a Duren. So let's see. Right now I'm at 494. I would have been to 474 if I went with Brandon Miller, but I went with Duren. Let's spell that right, D-U-R-E-N. I went with the Duren, so let's see what it would look like. If I went with Brandon Miller, my field goal percentage would have dropped to 747, but I'm actually going to do a Duren, 513. That's a huge difference. If you're focusing on your categories, you have to be pretty strategical. If I take a Miller there, I compromise my field goal percentage. So Duren was the pick, and you could see how important this tool is, so you could kind of benchmark stuff. Let's keep going through here. Pick number 6. If Porzingis is there, I might take him in this spot. Let's see, my threes are 1.981 per game. Let's see how I measure up against everybody else in the league. Threes are mid. Let's see, projected. Okay, threes are sort of mid. I could probably soup up my threes a little bit. What am I looking good at? Field goal looks good. Assists are okay. I'm not dominating any one thing quite yet. But let's see. Porzingis goes. I kind of like an OG in the spot. Jarrett Allen. I already have a lot of bigs and rebounds. I don't know if I need a Jarrett Allen here. An OG does get me some of those sorely needed steals. So I think an OG is my spot here. Hero is a sneaky player I'm looking at. He's starting the season injured, and if you have an injury reserve spot, Hero is going to be a great pick. He's going to have an awesome season. You just have to eat a few weeks of matchups on the IR. I think there's no problem with it. If I could get Hero in pick 80, I think it's a ridiculous pick not to jump on Tyler Hero, pick 80. So for now, I think I'm going to grab OG. I don't think he has the same kind of season as he had last year. Again, we have Mike Brown as the coach. Thibodeau ran these guys to the ground. They got a ton of minutes, so much usage, so many minutes. I think OG is my spotter. I'm going to grab an OG and as a backup. What's the news on Garland? Garland's another guy. He goes through light workout. Garland's another guy who I want to eye. I think he's going to have a great year, but you have to eat a few weeks to start the season. So let's see. Where do I have Garland projected at? JRL. Darius Garland. November 1. It's not a crazy return. I think he's slipping too. So I'm going to grab an OG. And for my next pick, I think I'm going to grab a Tyler Hero or a Darius Garland. Get a really, really good point guard there. But for now, let's add OG Anunoby into my picks. OG. I copy. I paste. Again, this is really nice because all I'm doing is copying and pasting a name, and then column B is doing all of the work. So it's really simple. It's really seamless to get your stats from tab number 1 to tab number 6. So that was my mission. Make it as easy as possible for myself. Make it as easy as possible for you so that you can have a seamless draft partner. Let's keep looking through here. All right, DeRozan goes. Julius Randle, don't love this year. Zach LaVine, solid. Jordan Poole, solid until DeJounte Murray comes back. So we shall see. Michael Porter Jr. is another guy who's so interesting this year. I think he's going to have a great year in the 25 games that he plays. The Nets are going to be the worst team in the league. You could kind of draw a line in the sand there. I think Nets are going to be the worst team in the league, and they're going to let you know about it. They're going to suck. They're just filled with a team of nobodies, a bunch of shooters. This team, they have no identity. Blah. The Nets, I just don't think the key guys are going to play a full season. So investing in Michael Porter, I think, is a crazy thing to do. So if Hero goes to me here, I think it's a ridiculous pick not to grab him. But let's queue it up with a couple guys. Tyler Hero, gonna fade Porter here. Hero goes. That was a great pick. IQ, I think, is gonna have a bit of a bounce back season, but bad field goal percentage. It doesn't get you much in the way of steals or blocks, but does get you threes, good free throw percentage, decent points, really good assists. Doesn't get you much in rebounds, but I think I'm doing pretty well in rebounds. So maybe an IQ here. I like Norman Powell a lot as well. I think he's going to have the same exact numbers he had last year in Miami. No reason he will not. And great, efficient guy. Gets you okay steals, but doesn't get you much rebounds or assists. But a really, really solid guy across the board. Another sneaky pick I love this year, Christian Brown. He's one of those guys. He's like a reverse Norman Powell, where everything's efficient, but he doesn't get you anything in the way of points or threes. A little better in rebounds. Doesn't pop out at any one great thing, but he is a huge breakout candidate. I watched a preseason game like a total fantasy basketball nerd, and the eye test looks good. He looks awesome. He's moving around like freaking Zach LaVine out there. He looks great. Okay, so IQ went too early for Christian Brown. A little too early for Norman Powell, candidly. Is there anybody else who I'm really liking here that I would need? Let's see. I don't know. Maybe I'll just go with a Norman Powell on this team. I don't love the pick, but I like him more than a Mikal Bridges. I'm probably just going to go with Norman Powell here and then get my next pick with a Christian Brown. Yeah, let's go Norman Powell here. Another guy who's going way earlier than I want him to, Asar Thompson, the other brother. I think Asar kind of has like an amen-like season last year. So I don't think he's gonna go. Galactic, but the steals are unbelievable. The blocks are solid. The rebounds are good. The field goal percentage is great. Not great free throw. Not excellent. Actually, not like terrible in turnover. But he's one of those dudes with the right build. He's like a top 40 player. So you don't want to sleep on Asar if you could grab him. Christian Brown, I think I'm queuing up. Oh, did I get sniped? I didn't get sniped. I like Christian Brown here. If I don't get, let me add Norman Powell to my draft sheet to see how we're doing. Norman Powell, copy, paste. Let's see how we're doing here. We look solid across the board. Free throws are like fringe. Free throws are really fringe. Steals are okay. I'm not doing so great in blocks. I should probably try to find a big man who can get some blocks. Points are looking good. Rebounds are looking good. A big man who can get blocks after Christian Brown. And there's a bevy of them for the later rounds. So if we don't get Christian, who do we want? Khalil Ware. If you don't get Brown, we're going to go Cameron Johnson. I have Brown over Johnson, by the way. That could be controversial. I just think I think he's going to pick up the slack from Michael Porter Jr. personally. I think Cameron Johnson is going to settle into a role. His stats were great because he was on the freaking Brooklyn Nets last year. They were a joke. They were a joke and a half. So we're going to take Christian Brown here. Not Braun, Brown. What can Christian Brown do for you? Okay, so Christian Brown. Let's do it. Brown, F-B-R-A-U-N. We copy his name, paste it in, and we've got a live rolling view here. So field goal percentage is looking good. I don't know if we need to overemphasize that. Average threes are looking okay. It kind of sucks when you get somebody who, like a Duran, who's not going to get you any threes, but he does well in other categories here. So steals, okay. Assists a little bit low. Maybe I can get a good assist guy, and that's where I think a Reed Shepherd comes in. I think Reed's going to have a low-key great season. According to my projections, which might blow your mind, Reed Shepherd, which you can't always use Z-scores to make your decisions, but I have Reed Shepherd doing 15 points per game, 5 assists per game, 2.1 steals, 0.4 blocks with decent percentages, and that would shake him out to a 27 rank ahead of my first rounder, Anthony Edwards. So according to Basic 9Cat, but the problem with Basic 9Cat is that it takes in account all 9 categories. If you do a punt, if you do a -1, it changes every single thing. But for a really, for a blanketed approach, Reed Shepherd's a really nice pick here. But I think I could get Reed Shepherd later. So I'm probably going to go for a guy who can get me some good pop here, a Shaedon Sharpe. I'm picking a lot of good upside guys here. Shaedon Sharpe, I think, is going to have a nice season. Got sniped, no problem. CJ McCollum will have a great first 25 games of the season. And then after, just like the Nets, we're going to see shut down city. These teams are playing for the lottery. The East is locked up. There's like 4 teams that are contending. The West is locked up. There's like 2 or 3 teams that are contending. All these other teams that are on the fringe need to tank for good draft picks. Will Nick Claxton get shut down in Brooklyn? I don't know, but do I need another center right this moment? Not right now, and he's not so terribly talented that I have to jump at him. I'd rather even reach for a Shepherd. Like, there's CJ McCollum. I may just grab a CJ because I may grab a CJ. It doesn't matter as much. Again, this is to measure my draft tool, not so much this, but I still want to give you some thought process on how I approach a draft. So let's grab CJ. We could take some of these other guys, but let's grab a CJ, and then we're gonna grab a Reed Shepherd after that because I don't want to miss out on him. So let's grab CJ here. MCC, CJ McCollum, copy, paste, put his name right here. Definitely helps with the threes. I think he's going to do very well in Washington. I think he's going to surprise people in Washington because there is no offensive juice on that team whatsoever in any shape or form. CJ McCollum does excellent in Washington, and maybe you could use that as a you could use that as a trade chip in the first couple months because CJ will crush. First few months, CJ will crush, but as we pass the All-Star break and we get into the most important part of the season, I think we're going to start to see some fake injuries. Reed Shepherd went. That, I think, I may have made a mistake by not snagging Reed Shepherd here, but let's start to cue someone else up. Jaden McDaniels. Zach Edey, another interesting guy I like a lot, and I like that Zach Edey starts the year on injury reserve, so you could start him on the INJ and start shifting people in and out of your lineup to kind of flex yourself and pick up a category here, pick up a category there. Maybe you end up picking a total stud, and you only would have done that because you had that extra roster spot. So let's see. Or do I want to take a DeJounte in this spot? Kind of take my long shot. DeJounte Murray. Let's see when I have DeJounte Murray projected back. I have DeJounte Murray projected back January 15th, so it's not so crazy. You have all of February and all of March, but I think they're going to slowly phase him back in. It's going to be a timeshare between him and Jordan Poole. So I like McDaniels. I really like Lively, but I just don't know how many games he plays this season. Let's grab a Jaden here. Jaden's solid across the board. Just solid across the board. I don't think he's going to surprise anybody. It wasn't like a... It may have been a little bit of a silly pick there because I should go with somebody with a touch more upside. But let's see if we can get Zach Edey in the next spot. Nope, can't. Got grabbed up. Derp. Steph Castle does have some upside, but he crushed when everybody was out in San Antonio. So I just don't know. Maybe I won't go him. Keontae George is a guy who actually does have some real upside. The problem with Keontae is that his field goal percentage is dog. It's dog. And his turnovers are dog. Maybe he could clean it up this year. That's how I'm thinking. Maybe he could clean it up. I may want to go a Jovic too. Nikola Jovic passes the eye test. He looked so good in the preseason game. He's starting over Khalil Ware, and I think that weighs a lot. Starting over Khalil is big. He may get upwards of 30 minutes per game, and if he does, he'll get you a lot in the way of rebounds, assists, steals, maybe some low fringe blocks. He's going to be a good across the board guy that you do not want to sleep on. His average pick is 142. Maybe I could wait till round 12 to get him. That's what you have to kind of make these risk-adjusted choices in a draft to say, if I fade on this guy this round, will I be able to get him at a value where I'm going to get a big return here? A lot of noise is happening today. Again, we always roll with the punches, both in making these vids and also in the draft. You always got to roll with the punches. That's a life lesson. Okay, let's talk about some guys that I like here. DeJounte, I think I'm just going to fade. Who knows what his season's going to look like. Aaron Gordon, I think, is solid, but do I need his presence right now? I don't know. Let's see how my team is doing. And I'll show you how the field goal actually works. What I do is I simply take the field goals made divided by the field goal attempts, and there we go. We get an accurate field goal read. Instead of taking the average, let's see. Let's run an experiment. Let's say equals average of my field goal percentage. What would I get? I would get 517. So I would get a really, really different read of a true field goal percentage read if I was just averaging out the field goal percentages. What you need to do is average out your field goals made divided by your field goal attempts. There's a lot of little funny statistical things that happen in fantasy basketball that if you make one little mistake, it could make a huge difference. Let's do the same thing with free throw average. So equals, you know what? I don't even need to do equals. I could just drag this across. A nice little tip. 788. That's very, very close to the free throw percentage. But again, we need crystal clear clarity in order to be the best possible manager. So let's erase that. That's why I've done a lot of the work for you so that you could have a perfect preparation on your draft. My next pick, we have Jovic tied up in there. Let's see who got. Keontae George got snagged up anyway. So I may just want to grab a Jovic. Isaiah Jackson started in the preseason, which is a great sign. He could be freaking wonderful this year. But you know what? He's kind of, I see the same value as him, as a Moussa Diabate. Even though Isaiah Jackson gets way more blocks, who knows if he plays a full season. He played 5 games last year. Trash. I love Aaron Nesmith this year too. Interesting pick. Let's go with someone here. Let's go with Nesmith and try to sneak in a Jovic if I can. If I could sneak in a Jovic. Otherwise, I am more than okay taking any of these other 3 guys, even like a Mitch Robinson. He's starting the season. Josh Hart is not. Something to really think about. But will Mitch Robinson play over 50 games this year? Will he play back-to-backs? I have no idea, but he looks really good in the preseason. He is just absorbing rebounds. He is just like a rebound vacuum. So I think his rebounds and blocks will be unbelievable this year. Let's go through other guys I like. Chris Paul, we know who he is. He's going to be like 4.7 assists per game and like 0.3 turnovers. So he's like a special guy, but it's just not scalable. And he's like sort of fading out as he gets a touch older. You should start doing some more State Farm commercials because that NBA career ain't for long, my friend. Let's see. Gary Trent Jr. will be solid. I like VJ Edgecombe. I just think Philly's going to be trash this year. That's why I worry about getting a... I worry about getting a Tyrese Maxey this season. I really worry about a Maxey this season. because I just don't think he plays over 50 games. A lot like last year, they shut him down with fake injuries. The same thing's going to happen. Paul George, who knows what's happening? Embiid, who knows what's happening? I think they're going to work their young guys a lot. So I think VJ is going to get good run. I think he's going to be underrated in steals, but his field goal percentage is going to be dog. His turnover is going to be dog. But he could be a sweet little guy. A sweet little guy here. If I get Jovic, I'm going to pounce. Did I add Nesmith? I did not add Nesmith. So let's add Nesmith before making my next move. NEIS. Let's try that another way. Aaron Nesmith. NES. Jaden McDaniels. Aaron Nesmith. I think Nesmith is going to have a very interesting season. A lot like a Christian Brown. He's going to be a cool dude to draft. Mark my words. He's going to be a cool dude to draft this year. And he's probably going to be a top 75 guy. Let's grab Jovic. Jovic. Hey, Jovic. Hey, done, dude. We're going to grab Jovic here. I like Isaiah Jackson. I really like Moussa Diabate. But, you know, you have other centers here like, I'm going to butcher this name, Keita on Boston. Nemias Keita. I don't think I butchered it, actually. All right, let's get Jovic up in here. Nikola Jovic. I don't think let's do this. I think we're lucky here. We're lucky here because I did not add him into this. I didn't. I don't have Nikola Jovic here. So I'm going to add him into here. And you'll see through the magic of this, Nikola Jovic. You'll see exactly how I do this. I'm going to project his stats. I don't know if I'm going to do it live for you, but when this drops, Nikola Jovic will be in the spreadsheet. And that's how we prep. You know, his name really came to me as I was watching the preseason. I saw that he started. I said, this guy's got to move up 50 spots in my projection. So he was actually not on the original guide. And I'll show you here. I'll show you as we go through the email. Let's just switch this up. Maybe I could get his numbers in here. Let's do that. Nikola Jovic, Miami. What position is he? Let's do this live, baby. And if you ever want to add a player, this is exactly how you would do it. If you want to put his projections, you'd put it right at the bottom of the page. How many games do I think he'll play? Let's just give him like 71. I don't know what his field goal percentage is going to be. We could sort of take his projected. So here was last year's numbers. I don't know what to do for field goal percentage. So let's go to Yahoo. Let's go to players. Let's go to J-O-B-I-C, Nikola Jovic with the funny little thing over the C. Let's see. How are we going to project him? Let's see. 2024 season. Was he a starter at all? And let's see. 10 games as a starter. 42% shooting. I don't know. Let's see if we can do a breakdown of his season. That's when he started to play some minutes. 44, 48, let's see, 54. Let's give him like 47.5%, I think is pretty safe. So let's do 0.475. Free throw, 82%. Didn't really... Let's give him 82%. We always want to be somewhat optimistically cautious here. Optimistically cautious. Threes. I think this guy can shoot threes. Let's give him... I feel like everybody in the league, like the default is going to be like 2 threes a game. I think like he was doing 2.1, 2.1. Let's give him like 2.25 threes per game. 2.25 threes per game. PPG, that's a great question. Let's give him like 14.7. That feels right. Rebounds. We're going to up him because his minutes are going to go up across the board. Let's give him 5.2. 5.2 assists. I think his assists are going to look good. Let's go for my next pick. I'm going to grab an Isaiah Jackson here. So let's grab Isaiah Jackson, who is here. Great. All right, so we're going to go Isaiah Jackson, and you'll see what I do live in order to grab Nikola Jovic. And then as soon as this draft is complete, we will get the results emailed to us, and I will show you this magic that I've created. I'll show you the exact step-by-step, and I'll show you how it creates the perfect freaking spreadsheet. So let's go back to Jovic. Let's find his edit, redo. Let's go back to here. Nikola Jovic. He's right at the bottom. Let's get his numbers in there. Assists. What's Nikola Jovic going to do for his assists? His assists are good. Let's give him like 4. He did 4.3 in January. Let's give him like 5. Let's give him like straight 5. 5 is what we're going to do here. We are doing live projections. Steals. I don't know how good of a steal guy he is. He did 1. Let's give him 1 just to be cautious. Let's give him 1, and then for blocks, we'll give him like 0.55. So 1, and then 0.55. Turnovers per game. Interesting. Turnovers per game. We have to like kind of up it. So let's give him like 2.25 turnovers per game. 2.25. And now we have to project out what his field goal attempts and field goal makes are going to be. So field goal attempts. Let's see, is the draft over? Draft is complete. So I'm going to finish this. I'm going to go to the draft results. I'm going to plug them in here, and you'll see exactly how the magic happens. So let's just finish this out here. Field goal attempts, let's give him like 11.6. These are like crazy numbers, but they're probably really close to right. And if he's at 4.75, it's very simple. You just do equals field goal attempt times percentage. Boom. And you get 5.51 attempts per game. Easy. And now let's go to free throws. How many did he shoot and what's his percentage? So 3.3 in December. I don't think he's going to do as much as 3.3. Let's give him like 2.9. 2.9 per game. 2.9. And again, 2.9, and then we just simply go to 2.9 times percentage 0.82, and we get 2.38. And now, since we have all this stuff mapped out, we just take this across, drag it down, make sure we're benchmarked against the right things. We are, and then it puts together an aggregate range of stats. Okay, he's a positive. Nikola Jovic is a positive guy here. Let's see where he would rank. Z to A. Jovic, Jovic. Nikola Jovic would be an 88 rank that I got very, very late in the draft. So let's jump over to my Gmail. Hopefully I don't have too many sensitive emails there. Okay. Here is my draft. So we just completed this 1 minute ago. I'll show you exactly how we do this. So you want to highlight, starting with the number 1 player, Jokic. So you want to grab this 1 and drag all the way down. You don't want to start from round 1, because that's going to screw up the algorithm. What you do is drag from 1, go all the way down to the last pick, and then you simply copy. So you can do a right click, you can do a copy, and you go over to here and you do the email results drop page. And right now, this was the previous one, so check it out. You go exit and everything goes blank. And look, everything here goes totally blank. There's no stats for anything. There's no stats for anything. But as soon as I drop this in, everything is automatically propagated. So I go over here and I like to paste special, and I want to do values only. It's just the cleanest way to do it, values only. So now you look, it got converted from here to here to here in perfect order. 156 picks, and look, everything gets extracted down. So it gets extracted from here to this page, a perfect extraction, and then we get team comparison. My team was pick number 8, I believe. I was pick number 8. Let's see how my team benchmarked. Pick number 8. So okay, I wasn't so sharp in everything. I did pretty well in my hotspots were free throw, threes, points per game were solid. And wow, actually my turnovers were pretty good for what it was. I have a really nice low turnover team. Make sure this is my team. No, it's not. Whoops, this is my team. Turnovers were, I did well in Scooby-Doo. Field goal percentage, free throw was okay. Threes were decent, points were decent, rebounds decent. This was a really, really decent draft. I think assists were a little bit low, steals were a little bit low, blocks were a little bit low, and turnovers were decent. So here's kind of how I do it. What you could do is you could just copy and you could paste it over here. And then as you do each draft, you can just track how you did with each pick you did. And then also, if you want, you could just make a copy of this. If you want to see how you did for this one, you can make a total copy of this page. You could duplicate, and then you could, boom, you have this right here. And you could duplicate every single one as you go through, and your copies will not be directly linked to any of these pages, so it won't mess anything up. Only the source material is linked to page or to tab number 1. So you could do that, or you could simply do a screen grab so you could track all your draft results. But either way, it allows you to have what I think is the perfect draft prep. So hopefully this was helpful. I will have a link for this exact spreadsheet in this video below. And if you have any questions, feel free to respond to this video. Hit me up via email. I want to make sure that you freaking crush it this year alongside of me. And the best way to do that is to know your numbers, know your stats, and prepare. And this draft sheet does it all. So happy drafting, my friends. Have a sick year, and I will see you on the next one.